जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दन व्रज
जनरञ्जन
जनरञ्जन
यमुनातीरावनचारी
यमुनातीरावनचारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
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 हरे
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 हरे राम
हरे राम राम
राम
राम
राम
हरे
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 जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
जय
नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय।
जय
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
जय
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री मथुरा धाम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय।
जय
गंगामाई की जय। यमुनामाई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Thy Gaur Siddhanath Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All
हरि
glories
बोल
to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna.
जय
All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga All Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय
Narayanam Namaskritya
नारायणं
नारायणं
नमस्कृत्यं
नमस्कृत्यं
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
नरं
नरं
चैव
चैव
नरोत्तमं
नरोत्तमं
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
देवीं
देवीं
सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
व्यासं
Tato Jayamudiraye
ततो
ततो
जयमुदीरये
जयमुदीरये
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
अभद्रेषु
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
नित्यं
नित्यं
भागवतसेवया
भागवतसेवया
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
भगवती
भगवति
उत्तमं श्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtiki.
भक्तिर्भवति
भक्तिर्भवति
नैष्ठिकी
नैष्ठिकी
Hari Om Tat Sat. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, called Creation, Chapter 7, The Son of Drona Punished, text 36 and 37. Because we have two verses and a big purport, I would just like to read the verse and the purport. Srimad Bhagavatam 1, 7:36. Pramattamunmattam shuktam bhalam striyam jadam narihanti dharmaved. Mattam pramattam mattam shuktam bhalam striyam jadam prapannam viratam vitam naripam hanti dharmaved. Mattam pramattam unmattam shuktam bhalam striyam jadam prapannam viratam vitam naripum hanti dharmaved. Word to word. Mattam, careless. Pramattam, intoxicated. Unmattam, insane. Suptam, asleep. Balam, boy. Striyam, woman. Jadam, foolish. Prapannam, surrendered. Viratham, one who has lost his chariot. Bhitam, afraid. Na, Ripum, enemy. Hanti, kill. Dharmavit, one who knows the principles of religion. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. Nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish, or a surrendered soul. Purport. An enemy resist is never killed here who knows the principles of religion. Formerly, battles were fought on the principles of religion and not for the sake of sense gratification. If the enemy happened to be intoxicated, asleep, etc., as above mentioned, he was never to be killed. These are some of the codes of religious war. Formerly, war was never declared by the whims of selfish political leaders. It was carried out on religious principles free from all vices. Violence carried out on religious principles is far superior to so-called non-violence. Bhagavatam 1.7.37 Swaprananya Pushnatyagrina Tatvadastasya Hishri Yatoshadyatyapuman Swaprananya Prapushnatyagrinakala Tadvadastasya Ishreyo Yatoshadyatyapuman Swaprananya Prapushnatyagrinakala Tadvadastasya Hishreyo Yatoshadyatyapuman. Word to word, Swapranan, one's own life. Yaha, one who. Parapranai, at the cost of others' lives. Prapushnati, maintains properly. Agrinaha, shameless. Kalaha, wretched. Tatvada, killing of him. Tasya, his. He, certainly. Shreyaha, well-being. Yat, by which. Doshat, by the fault. Yati, goes. Ada, downwards. Puman, a person. Translation. A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being. Otherwise, he will go down by his own. A life for a life is judgment for a person who cruelly, shamelessly lives another's life. Political morality is to punish a person by a death sentence in order to save a cruel person from going to hell. That a murderer is condemned to death is good for the culprit because like he will not for his act of murder. Such death sentence for is the lowest possible punishment offered to him. And it is said in the Smriti Shastras that men who are punished by the king on the principle of a life for life are purified of all their sins, so much so that they may be eligible for being promoted to the planets of heaven. According to Manu, the great author of civic codes and religious principles, even the killer of an animal is to be considered a murderer because animal food is never meant for the civilized man, whose prime duty is to prepare himself for going back to Godhead. He says that in the act of killing an animal, there is a regular conspiracy by a party of sinners, and all of them are liable to be punished as murderers, exactly like a party of conspirators who kill a human being combinedly. He who gives permission, he who kills the animal, he who sells the slaughtered animal, he who cooks the animal, he who administers distribution of the foodstuff, and at last, he who eats such cooked animal food are all murderers. And all of them are liable to be punished by the laws of nature. No one can create a living being despite all advancement of material science, and therefore no one has the right to kill a living being by one's independent whims. For the animal eaters, the scriptures have sanctioned restricted animal sacrifices only, and such sanctions are there just to restrict the opening of slaughterhouses and not to encourage animal killing. The procedure under which animal sacrifice is allowed in the scriptures is good both for the animal sacrifice and the animal eaters. It is good for the animal in the sense that the sacrificed animal is at once promoted to the human form of life after being sacrificed at the altar. And the animal eater is saved from grosser type of sins, which is eating meats supplied by organized slaughterhouses, which are ghastly places for breeding all kinds of material afflictions to the society, country, and the people in general. The material world is itself a place always full of anxieties, and by encouraging animal slaughter, the whole atmosphere becomes polluted more and more by war, pestilence, famine, and many other unwanted calamities. Translation again. A person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. Nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. Number 37. A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well being. Otherwise, he will go down by his own actions. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः गदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापतकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगनललितां श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा स्तुति तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Good morning to all the devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. I would like to seek the blessings of all the senior devotees before I begin. So, these two verses, as we know, are being spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. The core message of these two verses will overlap with each other. So, I will try my best to elaborate them and share the essence of these two verses. And to set the context, we have seen in the past weeks, the Brahmastras are now withdrawn and it is now punishment time. So Arjuna is being put in a very delicate situation by Krishna. And now he has to take a decision if Ashwatthama has to be punished or not. And why? Because in the previous verses, we saw how Arjuna's vow to Draupadi was, he said, I'll cut off Ashwatthama's head and bring it to you, and you can stand on his leg and take bath. What such a ghastly vow. I would not want to stand on a dead man's head. I'm sure none of us would want to. Forget standing on a dead man's head. I would not dare to even see a man's head standing alone without his body. Can you imagine? When we are driving on the roads, on the highway, we see a lot of times animals being killed by running over it. The dead body and the flesh of the animal will be lying on the road. And what would we do? We just try to go around it as much as we could, instead of just going over it. We know it is dead and it is still just a material body, but still we try our best to dodge it. Why? Because we know that there was life in that body. A few minutes before, there was something holy and pure that was there in it. And so you try your best not to stamp over it again. But look at what Arjuna is asking Draupadi to do. She has to stand on that head and take bath. So Prabhupada says that is Kshatriya life. It is not very easy. So now that Arjuna has now captured Ashwatthama, Krishna is now trying to convince Arjuna to kill. So first verse is talking about the different rules to be followed in a righteous war. Okay. Just because we have an enemy does not mean that you can kill them by any means. Enemy does not mean any means. There are some rules and regulations, a Yuddha Dharma that needs to be followed by Kshatriyas. And Prabhupada says, as a Kshatriya's fight is the real fight. It is not like the current war fight, which is like cats and dogs. So cats and dogs, they fight for territory, they fight for sense gratification, etc. But a Kshatriya's fight is on the basis of religious principles. For example, in this verse, Krishna is saying, as per religious principles of war, the following people must not be killed. The first one is mattam. Mattam means careless or inattentive. So if by chance, by inattentiveness, one does something wrong, he should not be considered as enemy. He is just careless, and so he should be chastised or scolded or punished. Even if he is enemy, he should not be killed. The next is pramattam, intoxicated, meaning constitutionally he is not mad, he is a good man, but by some external influence like alcohol or other drugs, or by the influence of some brainwashing by somebody, one has become like mad. So he is called Pramata. Now, Prabhupada goes an extra step and says, in this material world, almost 99.9% of the people are all Pramatas. Now, how can you say that very confidently? Because Pramatta is someone who is constitutionally good, but by the influence of an external factor, he is going crazy. So, if we compare that to this material world, we know that all living beings are considered are good by nature. The soul is good, but we are being controlled by the influence of the three modes of material nature, which is mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Now, this word Pramatta is also used by Lord Shiva when he is giving instructions to the Prachetas in the fourth canto. Pramattamuchairittigritya chintaya pravriddha lobham vishayeshu lalasam tvam apramatta sahasabhipatyase kshulelihano hirivakumantaka. So here he is saying that the living entities are all pramattam because they are always planning unnecessary things attached to material desires. But then he calls the Lord apramattam, which is opposite of pramatta, meaning the God is alert or in a transcendental state. So, for example, a person who is fully drunk and he is lying on the road, only a person who is sober or not drunk can lift him and take him to his home. So here we are all pramatta and Lord is apramatta. Next slide. Yeah. Also quotes the below verse, which is also giving a similar message. Dehapatye kalatradishu atma shainesh asatsvapi tesham pramatta nidanam pashyannapi na pashyati. So Prabhupada says people feel that if we have a good house, good school, good wife, good husband, good children, good friends, they will come and help me anytime. So there is a feeling of security. Yeah, let me be in the good books of everyone so that whenever I'm in danger, they will come for help. But what they fail to understand is anytime Yamaraj can come and kick them out of this body. Krishna says, Mrityu sarva haras chaham. Krishna says in the Gita, I am all devouring death. And Yamaraj is a servant of Krishna and he will come on behalf of Krishna and take you away. He will take you to his abode and decide what punishment to be given depending on your karma. So it can be like 10 years or 15 years or 10 lifetimes, you never know. And his judgment will be perfect because Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. Now, just an additional information, who are the 12 Mahajans? We get this info from Bhagavatam. Swayambur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaiyasakir Vayam. So we have Lord Brahma, we have Narada Muni, then Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras. So although it's four, it's still considered as one, the four Kumaras. Kapila. Now, specifically, the translation says the son of Devahuti, because there is also another popular Kapila who is an atheist and he explained the Sankhya philosophy without acknowledging God. So Prabhupada has specifically translated with the caveat. Next is Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, Bali Maharaj, Vaiyasakir is Shukadeva Goswami, and Yamadharmaraja. So here the translation says I because Yamaraj is talking this to the servants in this particular verse. So because Yamaraj is one of the Mahajans, he knows the real religious principle and he will give the correct punishment. He is also a Dharmavid. So thinking that having a fit body or having a good security system at house with all the cameras, we are all secure. But here, Prabhupada says that is pramatta. Of course, that does not mean you can leave your house open in the night. Prabhupada also mentions this in his lectures. He says ISKCON is not telling don't do exercise or stay fit, but don't keep it as your only business. Don't get too worried about these things. And you have to spend more time in improving your spiritual health. Deha patya kalatra dishu. So we saw deha, body, and how it should not be given too much importance. And Yamadharmaraja will come and take it anytime. We saw that. Now comes kalatra. Kalatra means wife. people who are very familiar with Vedic astrology terms, we hear, the different types of dosha that somebody has. One of the doshas is Kalatra dosha. Kalatra dosha means husband and wife are having marital problems because their stars are not sitting in the right place. For devotees, it's not applicable, but in general, the Vedic astrology says that. So here, Kalatra means spouse. So if we think that our wife will pray to Yamadharmaraj and save us from any danger, then that is also foolishness. Now, the moment I say that, I'm sure you must be remembered of the story. In Mahabharata, we hear of the story of where when Raja comes to take him, and Savitri asks him, "Can I also walk with you?" And then you go during that time. She impresses Yamadharmaraja with a lot of dharmic principles, and she answers all the questions of Yamadharmaraja with proper dharmic principles. And Yamadharmaraja gets impressed. So he says, "Okay, let me give you a wish. You ask me for a wish." And then she intelligently asks Yamaraj for a very good son. Please give me a very good son. Then Yamaraj says, "Tathastu, you will get a good son as per your wish." But then she says, "Now that my husband is not alive, how can I get a son? So please give me back my husband also." So Yamaraj had already committed that you will get a son. So he had no choice but to bring her husband back to life. So intelligently, she managed to get the life of her husband back. But in the current scenario, not all wives are Savitri, nor the husbands are like Satyavan. So Prabhupada is warning, don't think that having a good wife means your life is settled. Yamaraj will still come and take you out when it's time. Now, another story in Mahabharata, we also hear Yaksha Prashna, where a Yaksha or a celestial being is asking questions to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And only after Yudhishthir Maharaj answers all the questions, the Yaksha said he will release his brothers, the Pandavas. So one of the questions was, what is the truly amazing thing in this world? Or most surprising thing in this world? So Yudhishthir Maharaj answers, every person in this world is seeing people around them die, but still they think that they are not going to die and they are going to live forever. So he says that is the most amazing thing in this. So we should not take all these in the negative way, but we have to understand that this is the truth. Nobody is going to stay here forever. And so we should not be too attached to this bodily concept of life and be detached. We have to be in Vairagya. Prabhupada quotes from the Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam. If one wants to learn how to become a Vairagi, then he must take to devotional service. So, a Pramata thinks that my wife will protect me, my bank balance will protect me, my friends will protect me. But in summary, Prabhupada is conveying the message that no one in this world can protect us as much as Krishna. Vishal Prabhu also mentioned in his previous class, Mare Krishna, Rake Krishna, Mare Ke. So if Krishna wants to kill you, no one can save you. But if Krishna wants to save you, no one can kill you. So he gives the assurance, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami Ma Suchaha. So he says, you abandon all varieties of religion and come to me, I will protect you. He also says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the well-wisher of all the living beings. So just imagine if one of your friend comes and tells you, you know what, you don't worry about anything. I will take care of everything. So how relaxed and relieved that we will be. So if you understand this, then you are not Pramatta. But if you don't, then you are a Pramatta. Okay. Moving. Another type of Pramata, I'm sitting on Pramata for a long time because I had emphasized on this Pramata concept a lot. And so I'm sitting on this. Another type of Pramata is people who are mad after sense gratification. So here, Prabhupada says they are also called as Pramata. So the reference is given to this particular verse in Bhagavatam. Nunam Pramatta Kurute Vikarma. So this type of Pramata, he does not know that he will be punished by the laws of the state or by laws of the nature. But he just mad after materialistic living, and he engages in all kinds of sinful activity. So even if he is escaping the laws of the state, he will still be punished by the laws of nature. There are 8 witnesses for all the mistakes we are doing. Just a reference from Srimad Bhagavatam for that. So we may think that no one, but these 8 witnesses are always available and they will go and tell it to Chitragupta in Yamaloka. Believe it or not. Who are they? The sun, the fire, sky, air, demigods, moon, evening, day, night, all the eight directions, water, land, and super soul himself all witness the activity of the living entity. So even if you escape everything, the super soul is there with you always. So everything is being accounted for. So next time we even think of making a mistake, thinking that no one is watching, we have to be aware that all of these people are watching. And even if you are not punished by the state, you will be punished by the laws of nature. If we are conscious of this, then we are apramatta. Otherwise, we are again pramatta only. Okay, next one. This unmattam, which is insane or mad. So pramatta is half mad and unmatta is full mad. So constitutionally itself, he is mad only. So he will go around naked, eating his own stool, not knowing who he is or what he is doing. The next is Suptam. Suptam is someone who is sleeping, should not be killed. Next is Balam, which is small boys. Now, Ashwatthama has broken both these rules together. Person sleeping should not be killed. Boys should not be killed. But Ashwatthama killed sleeping boys. So, double offense. That is why Krishna is also quoting this. Next is Striyam, woman. Jatam, which is fool. Then Prapannam, someone who has said, surrendered. Someone who said, okay, I surrender. You should not kill him. Then Viratam, no chariot. So Ratam means chariot. Ratam means without chariot. So the question may be raised, what about the army who fight on the ground? They don't have chariots, right? But it should be understood that a warrior who fights in a chariot is called a Rati. Example, Bhishma, Arjuna, Karna, etc. So there are different classes of Ratis. Ardharati, Rati, Adirati, Maharati, Adimaharati, Mahamaharati. So there are different classes of Ratis. If such a warrior loses his chariot, then he should not be killed. Then Beatam, which is afraid. So a person who is well versed in Dharma, the verse says, Na Ripum Hanti Dharma with. So a person who knows this Dharma should not kill such people like Mattam, Pramattam, etc. So we already saw in the next one is, we already saw in the purports of the previous verse, which has already justified that Ashwatthama should indeed be killed because he is an aggressor. We saw the person who sets fire to the house, uses deadly weapons, etc., etc. And now Krishna himself is giving more convincing reasons to Arjuna on why Ashwatthama has to be killed. Because Ashwatthama killed Suptam Balam, sleeping boys. We will see in the future verses also, Bhima will also say kill him. Krishna will also say kill him. But Yudhishthir will say don't kill him. Draupadi will say don't kill him. So this kind of situation Arjuna is in is called Dharma Sankat. We must have heard of this. This side is also Dharma. That side is also Dharma. Now what should I take? Now Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to find a solution when we get stuck between two decisions. Why? Because in Kali Yuga, adharma also almost looks like dharma. So it is very difficult for us to find that thread of dharma between these two. For example, giving charity with strings attached. I'm donating money, but I'm actually expecting some favors in return. So even if the act seems charitable on the surface, the actual reason is actually hidden. The next example is euthanasia. Euthanasia is killing someone who is in pain to relieve them of the pain. So in hospitals, it is being done. And it is legal. So while it may look like we are doing something good for the patient by giving them a relief, so it can look like it is dharma, but actually, as per scriptural injunctions, it is adharma. We don't have the right to do that because Dharma Shastra says don't do it. Now, there was a situation in Chennai where one of the devotees' parent was suffering and doctors suggested euthanasia. The devotees asked Guru Maharaj for advice, and Guru Maharaj said, no, you should not do. You have to allow the Atma to leave the body on its own. And another example of this is a group of thieves. They rob from a house or a bank and they split it equally amongst themselves according to Dharma. Everyone gets an equal split. So according to them, they have been very dharmic and fair, but what they did before is not being considered at all for a discussion. So in Kali Yuga, it is difficult to differentiate what is good and what is bad. So what is the answer then? So when we are encountered with such a situation, we need to go to a Dharmavit. And that Dharmavit will be able to help you find out which is right. Because what is right for me can be wrong for you and vice versa. So I have heard in lectures that Prabhupada gave one instruction to a sannyasi that you have to be a parivrajaka, meaning you have to go around the world and preach and you cannot stay in one place. But for another sannyasi, he said you just stay in this place and preach. So that Dharmavit will help you determine which is right for you. Now, how will the Dharmavit or know which is right and which is wrong? Because he is well versed with the Shastras. Now, Rupa Goswami has given a global formula. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhi anavritam anukulyena krishnanusilanam bhakti ruttama. So his superior quality of devotional service of Krishna is to act favorably for the personality of Godhead. So this Dharmavit will ensure that whatever decision he is telling you to take, you are able to follow this universal rule of Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam. Whatever you do, keep Krishna in the center. Of course, you can use your intelligence to an extent, but the problem is intelligence is subservient to the mind. So it may not always give you the right answer unless you are a Dharmavit. For example, Ashwatthama was a very learned person. He had the intelligence and knowledge that Brahmastra should not be used unnecessarily. Sleeping kids should not be killed. He knew everything, but still he did it. Why? Similar question, Arjuna also asks Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 3:36. He says, O descendant of Varshni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So, and answers by saying, Kama esha, Krodha esha, Rajoguna samudbhava. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Now, Krishna continues to say the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. So, intelligence is a sitting place of lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So, consider you are going to be attacked by an enemy. Okay. So, if you want to destroy the enemy and win over them, you need to know exactly what their strategy or the hiding places. So, here Krishna is revealing the hiding places of lust. It is the senses, mind, and intelligence. So lust is sitting in these three places and it conquers you. So if you want to conquer lust, to make you more intelligent, then you have to conquer these things. Now, how to conquer these things? Krishna gives the answer also. He says, Evam buddha samsatmatmana. He says, someone is covered by lust and passion, they lose their intelligence to take the right decision. He says, thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy. So even Arjuna, when he heard the killing of his sons, out of mode of passion, the Rajoguna, he said, I will chop off Ashwatthama's head and bring it to Draupadi. You can stand on it and take bath. But now having captured Ashwatthama, Arjuna is thinking, what should I do? Krishna says kill him, but Arjuna does not want to kill him. And how do we know that? Because he wants to take him to the camp and then ask the opinion of Draupadi and other Pandavas. So that itself means he is hesitating to actually kill him. Now the beauty is, Krishna is giving more reasons in the next verse, 37. So here, he is saying that by killing Ashwatthama, you are actually doing good only to him. Otherwise, he will suffer in hell. Prabhupada says in the purport, a life for a life is the best punishment. Okay, so, and he says such a death sentence for the murderer is the lowest possible punishment offered to him. So, Krishna says by killing Ashwatthama, you are actually doing good only to him. So, just kill him. Now, in relation to this purport, conversations, Prabhupada of sadhu going around the town with his disciple giving blessings. So that this sadhu is Narada Muni, but Prabhupada says that it's just going around town with his disciples. So first he goes and meets a prince, a king's son. He blesses him with the words Rajaputram Chiranjeeva, which means you are a king's son, a prince, so you live forever. Then he meets a brahmachari, who's the son of a saintly person, and then he blesses him Majiva Majiva, which means you don't live, die immediately, you die now. Then he meets a butcher, and then he says Majiva Mamara, which means you don't die, at the same time don't live. And then he meets a devotee, and then a devotee of Krishna, and then he blesses her Jivava Marava, which means either you live or you die as you like. Now, all this while, the disciple was confused. Why Guru is giving all these different types of blessings? And so he asked the Guru, now, dear Lord, why did you bless the prince to live forever? And the sadhu said, he is now enjoying a life of sense pleasure. But after he dies, he is going to greatly suffer for all that he is currently doing. So it is best for him to live forever and stay as he is now. And then the disciple asked him, then why did you curse the brahmachari to die immediately? Now the sadhu answered, no, it was not a curse, it was a blessing. Why? Because currently he is pure and sinless. He is living a very pure life. But if he continues to live, his future is uncertain. Why is that? The disciple asked, because there is always danger of falling into this material nescience. So if he dies right now, he will certainly be promoted to the higher world. So you better die now. Now, why did you bless the butcher? Don't live, don't die. Now, sadhu said, he is living such a sinful life by killing so many animals. So he might as well die. But just imagine what happens to him when he goes to hell. He is going to suffer more in hell for many thousands of years. So better he lives. So better you die, you better you live instead of that. And then hearing all the answers, the disciple said, now I know why you blessed the devotee like that. And sadhu asked, can you tell me why? And then he said, because she is constantly remembering the Lord, it makes no difference for her whether she lives or she dies. Wherever she goes, she is going to go on remembering the God in this life and in the next. Similar to Narada Muni, where he was cursed by his father Brahma. He said, it makes no difference to me whether I'm in heaven or hell. My job is just to keep chanting the glories of the Lord. So giving capital punishment is in a way doing good to the criminal because it prevents him to suffer. Now, Prabhupada also the Smriti Shastras and Manu Shastra. This is a Shastra written by Manu, who is considered the best of beings. Not to mention, he who gives permission, kills the animal, sells the animal, cooks the animal, distributes the animal, eats the animal. They are all to be punished for the sin that they did. Now, Prabhupada also says that even if they are not able to control the senses and wants to eat animals, then scriptures have sanctioned restricted animal sacrifices. So by this, the animal is also getting promoted, and this guy is also not incurring so much sin. Of course, he will incur sin, but not so much sin as equal to eating meat from the slaughterhouses. Now, if you see in the current context of this verse, Krishna says kill him and is giving reasons on why he should be killed. But Arjuna feels he should not kill him. Now, which one is right? Now, the answer is both are right. So in this material world, we are trained to believe that if two things are opposite, then one is right and one is wrong. But in the transcendental plane, two opposite things can both be right. For example, we see the Priyavrta Maharaj pastimes in Bhagavatam. Narada Muni is telling the king, don't rule the kingdom, you do meditation. But Manu and Brahma is telling you, come and rule the kingdom. Now, both are correct. Why? Because both Manu and Narada Muni and Brahma are all Mahajans. We saw before, they are also one of the 12 Mahajans. So both of them will talk the right thing only, and they are giving opposite instructions. Now, which one to choose? That is when Priyavrta Maharaj has to use his intelligence in a Krishna conscious way. Now, Priyavrta Maharaj is a pure devotee, so he had conquered his senses, so lust did not interfere in his intelligence. And finally, he chooses Brahma's instructions, but still managed to attain liberation at the end of this lifetime. So, opposites does not mean one is right and one is wrong. Now, I had a few friends in college who were atheistic. So, the popular thing that they would ask me is, can your God create a stone that he cannot break? So, these are two opposite things. If we say yes, then they will say God has created something that he cannot break, so God is not able to do something. And if we say no, then that means God is not able to create something, so he cannot be God. So maybe they're just trying to use their material intelligence to trick us. But the answer is in Ishopanishad. God, Prabhupada says, God can create a stone that he cannot break, and then he will break it to show that he is God. So this is the, oh, sorry. So Ishopanishad, verse 5 says, Tat eti tanvati. So it says that the Supreme Lord walks and he does not walk. He does not walk because there is no necessity for him to walk. He is omnipresent. For example, if you want to see what is happening on the other side of the wall, you have to walk and go there. But as God is there in every place, every atom, so in that sense, he does not have to walk. So as Paramatma, he does not walk. But as Bhagavan, we see he walks, he runs, he plays, he steals and eats butter. So simultaneously, he is able to walk and also not walk. And that is why he is God. So the point is, all opposites in Krishna consciousness, they reconcile within the Lord. And that is why Acharyas say that any opposing situations in life can be reconciled in Krishna consciousness. You just need the proper guidance of a Dharmavid. Situations in devotee's life in Krishna consciousness, where one could face opposites, one should take shelter of the Guru or the Srimad Bhagavatam that is readily available. The stories in the Bhagavatam, the pastimes of great devotees who have faced reversals, how they used that reversal to progress in their devotional life can be learned from Bhagavatam. So these are some examples. So Parikshit, he was cursed, but then he turns that curse into the great Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Dhruva Maharaj takes the insult from his stepmother and he becomes a great devotee of the Lord. And then life throws a murderous father to Prahalad, and he just simply used every trick that his dad played on him as a platform to remember the Lord. So when the elephant came, he saw that as Gajendra. When fire came, he saw that as Mahalakshmi. So life throws a curse to Narada Muni, and then he uses it to just travel around the world to spread Krishna consciousness. And then life takes everything from Bali Maharaj. But what does he do? He used that to win the heart of the Lord. So Vamanadev is now the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj's castle. So when difficult situations appear in life, one should simply take shelter of Guru and Bhagavatam. It will give you the answer. I'm sure you must have also heard a lot of senior disciples of Prabhupada. They say that every time they have a challenge, they just opened the Bhagavatam, a random page from the Bhagavatam, and the purports in that page will somehow answer their question. So the point is, any challenges in life you encounter, you just take inspiration from these Bhagavatas and just flip the problem into an opportunity. Like a businessman. What does a businessman do? He sees an opportunity in every challenge. He tries to capitalize and see how to make money within that problem itself, right? So we should also be a good businessman, but in a spiritual way. So a normal businessman, he looks for opportunity to make more money, but a devotee's business to see how we can use that challenge to increase our devotion to the Lord. So Krishna says in the Gita, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekehet kuru nandana. So Vyavasaya means business. So our business is one pointed focus on satisfying Krishna. Ekeha kuru nandana. So a regular businessman also has one pointed attention, but his one pointed attention is to satisfy his senses. But our one pointed attention should be to satisfy Krishna and the Guru Parampara. Now, the beauty of Krishna consciousness, if you see for the businessman, if he wants to satisfy himself, his wife, his mother, father, his grandparents, his friends, his colleagues, etc., to satisfy each of them, he has to use different techniques and different types of endeavor. I'm sure you will agree. The technique used for wife will not work for mother. Okay, so the efforts that he has to put to satisfy all these people is so exhausting. But in spiritual life, in ISKCON especially, if we make a similar list on how to satisfy Krishna or Radharani or Rupa Goswami or Narada Muni or the Guru Paramparas or Prabhupada or even your spiritual master, for everyone, the technique is the same. Satisfy the Lord. Ekeha Kuru Nandana. So as long as you work to satisfy the Lord, all your satisfied. So just like how we saw a nice drama by devotees who did the other day, all parts of the body together belly, and automatically all of them are nourished and satisfied. We just have to work towards that of surrendering and satisfying the Lord. Take shelter of the holy names. Holy names will give you the intelligence to handle the situation. So even here in the next few verses, though Krishna is telling Arjuna to kill Ashwatthama, Krishna will also give Arjuna the intelligence to reject that proposal, and Arjuna will do what is right and what will satisfy all the parties. Hariom Tat Sat. I will stop here and I'll open the floor for any discussions or reflections.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. So before anyone asks, I have few questions to be asked
Sure.
tonight. So as you mentioned about religion in the beginning of the discussions, so what actually the meaning of religion and how it applies to us?
Prabhu, beautiful question. There is a verse in Bhagavatam, Tyakta Swadharmam Charanam Bhujam Hare, Bhajan Apakwa Ato Patet Tato Adi. I forgot the next few verses. So this is Narada Muni talking, and Prabhupada in that purport, he says that religion is the constitutional position of a particular living being. For example, religion is called as dharma, right? So the dharma of a microphone is to expand the voice. Okay, the dharma of a calculator is to calculate. Similarly, the dharma of the soul is to serve the Lord. That is our natural dharma. So, consider when you say how religion applies to us, Muslim or Hindu or Christian or Sikh, they are just telling you some religious principles, but the actual religion of a living being, the natural religion of a living being is to serve the Lord. So, whichever religious path you are taking, as long as it is allowing you to serve the Lord, then you are doing your religion. So, that is what my understanding is, Prabhu.
Okay, yeah. So thank you. So our dharma is to serve the Lord. That
Underlying, yes.
underline in began. Okay, okay. And the other one is like there was a purport which you have mentioned also. One must be devoid of all material desires.
Hmm.
So, like, could you just give a light on this, Prabhuji?
So, one must be devoid of material desires means you should not be attached to material desires, be detached from them. Don't be too engrossed with material desires. So Prabhupada gives the example of salt in food. You know, if don't put salt in food, you cannot eat. But if you put too much salt in food also, you cannot eat. So you have to use the salt as much as you need to run your, to eat prasadam. Similarly, don't be too attached to material desires. The best stage is devoid of all material desires, like Prabhupada and previous acharyas and Guru Maharaj and stuff like that. But because we have not reached that stage, use that as a pinch of salt. There are, because we are in this material body, if you are not able to completely get out of material desires, have don't be too attached to material desires, but focus more on the spiritual path. Is it okay, bro?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So the example will be remembered, like the salt example. So it's like the salt is required, but you need to know
How much is required?
how much is required. Okay.
Exactly. And gave that when he was actually eating prasadam. He was eating prasadam and talking to the devotees. And then he's just giving an example. You know, the salt, you should use it as much as you want. Just like he was actually comparing it to sex life. though it is like a pinch of, you should take it with a pinch of salt. You have what is actually required. Don't do engrossed in that. But then it can be compared to like material desires also.
Okay. Sometimes your voice breaks, bro. So
I really don't know, bro. Whenever I'm sharing and talking,
okay.
I'm getting that problem, bro. I try to fix it, but I'm not able to.
No problem.
Sorry.
Because it comes yellow and then red. Yeah, sometimes like that. But
Okay.
so let's see if someone else has few questions. I do not see.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear me, Satyanath Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu, it's Sharad. So I'm having one question regarding when actually you said that Guru says that live at some point and say die at some point. And when actually gave an example of one thing where actually you were saying that when we are in a good deeds with Krishna, that's the right time to go. So at what point we will know that we are in a good deed and it's the right time to go, and should we ask for it or should we wait for right time? What actually that thing is?
Prabhu, first thing is we cannot decide when we want to go. It
Exactly.
it is not in our hands.
Yeah.
And because that uncertainty is there, the advice from the acharyas is always involve yourself in spiritual activities. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So that is the core message. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So whatever activities you do, be conscious that there is Krishna's involvement in that particular activity. Whether you are getting something good in your life, then you take that as a blessing from Krishna and don't get too puffed up that, you know what, hey,
Exactly.
so it's because of Krishna's mercy. And if you're facing challenges, then you can still think that, it is because of my past karma. It should have been more worse, but Krishna has made it a little less. So you are seeing Krishna in everything that is happening in your life. And we can take that from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, I am the sun. So whenever you're doing this Gayatri Japa, Gayatri mantra, you can, that, Krishna said, he is the sun. And Krishna says, I am the taste in water. So when you're drinking water, you can be Krishna conscious. So when you get taste water, oh, such a nice creation of God. When you see a nice flower, you can appreciate. Prabhupada in the morning walks, even when he sees a small flower also, he talks about the flower. See, such a nice color combination that God has given for that particular flower. I can't imagine why people say there is no God. So Prabhupada sees God everywhere. So we have to develop that particular practice of seeing God everywhere.
Yeah. So by this, I'm getting something, some clue out of this, that we first thing that we should always be under Krishna's lotus feet, and second thing is we should not be afraid of death, because the thing is, like, as you said, that we can change any time, isn't it? So we may go to the wrong paths at some point. So whatever we have done, it will be lost, isn't it?
Correct.
So we should pray to Krishna to be with us, and we should not be fearful of death. I think that's what I'm thinking. But one thing, what happens if we go to the wrong path then? So if we go away from Krishna, is there any way we can?
No, see, Prabhu, if you deviate from Krishna consciousness, two things can happen. Krishna will help you come back to your Krishna conscious path. That has happened in stories like Bilvamangal Thakur, where he was a great devotee, but then he got attracted to a prostitute. But then Krishna, through the prostitute itself, will teach him that that is the wrong path. Either that can happen, and even if Krishna does not help you in this lifetime, in the next lifetime, you can just start from where you left. Okay, and Krishna also says, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. So Krishna has given that guarantee to in Bhagavad Gita. So we don't have to worry. As long as you follow what the Shastra says, and if you are in a Krishna conscious way, either in this life you will come back, or in the next life you will be brought back to the right.
That's a relief for me. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Sundarupa Prabhu, you had a question?
Hare Krishna, Vandana Prabhu. Very nice class. Yes, as you said last, LIC, life ke baad, and within life also, after life also, is guaranteed. Krishna conscious insurance. Prabhupada has given. Thank you. I had one question. Like as you said, whoever is a part of that killing might be. Like in here in UK, suppose you work now, there's a contract, there's a from government, there is regulations. Anyone, suppose company A, company B, company C, company D. In between, C is working, he don't know what is happening A, B, D, but all will be involved here as per regulations. So similarly, that one. Another is suppose somebody's not killing, not eating, but seeing that happening. Is that also effect happens?
It doesn't say that here, Prabhu. I mean, it doesn't say that here. That if you see that happening, it's not that you and you see that happening and you're not taking any actions. It doesn't say that you incur sin. You're not a partner in crime, but you're just outside and you're just seeing, because that's what happening now, right? We are all seeing things, all bad things happening. But what we can do is we can try our best to the grassroots and see how we can try and avoid it.
Okay, it's like fire happening in the streets. We were just seeing because we went there, the house, but we are seeing, but we are not able to do anything in that kind. But yeah, I was thinking whether seeing different. But if you are there itself in that field, that time we should say some concerns like
we can use our influence and see how we can try and get it to an extent, Prabhu.
Okay.
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Today or your night? No, in the day, of course.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So my question is, Ashwatthama, right? When he killed all the sons of Arjun. Now, at that point in time, Arjun has already heard Gita, and it was, the question really I have is, why did he hesitate to kill Ashwatthama? Is there like a pastime of Krishna where he wants to send a message that despite hearing, the body, it's just the killing of the body, right? The soul of Ashwatthama cannot be killed. So
correct.
Was he under Maya even after?
No, Prabhu. Prabhupada says in the purport that it is Rajoguna. That's how Rajoguna works, because he is a Kshatriya, he has got the passion. So Rajoguna is a little dominant. But then again, Krishna gives him the intelligence to overcome that and then think twice before actually doing the killing. Actually, after hearing all the Bhagavad Gita, etc., etc., and then when the entire war was over, again Arjuna was actually lamenting. Oh no, I have killed all these people. Then Krishna said, what is this? I told you the full Bhagavad Gita and again you are lamenting. And then so Krishna gives a summary of the Bhagavad Gita again to him, like Anugita. It's called Anugita. So he's again giving a small version of Gita to him. And then again he comes back to. So that is the nature of the Atma, we keep forgetting. So that's why we have to stay in the association of devotees and keep listening to Bhagavatam and lectures, so that even if we forget, we are again brought back to our senses.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhu, we'll stop here. Sorry, I have a hard stop. I have to go to a place. So maybe if there is any other questions, I can pick it up in the chat.
Let us check. No problem.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks,
Hare Krishna.
Raj Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Any announcement, Prabhu? Chaitanya Prabhu or anyone before you close for the day?
Yes, Prabhu. In 2 weeks' time, we're having the Gauri Purnima celebrations. So we'll soon publish the festival announcements. We'll look forward for another big festival and congregating together, wedding. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hari Bol. Thank you. Thank you everyone for attending and doing lovely seva.
Vanchakalpa.
Vanchakalpa.